Hello.
Good morning. How we doing?
Pretty good.
I don't know, man. Last week you came in hot and bothered. You were in a tizzy. Give me the lay of the land so I know what I'm walking into here.
I think it's light. It's light this week. I
Okay.
don't have any hot takes. I don't have any I'm
No
not
domain
mad about
disasters.
anything. No domain disasters. I've been playing with a new app. We can talk about that real quick. I was kind of messing with that. Kubera. Have you seen this Kubera app?
No, never
It's
even.
like
That's a
a
ridiculous name. Never heard of that in my life. What is
it's a ridiculous
Kubera?
thing. I was thinking about that. I was like, I don't mind it in the sense of like the .com was available, and obviously they just went like, let's pick some random letters that are available in the .com,
Yeah.
right? And often I don't care for those type of names, but this one, the way it looks is not bad. To say it sounds ridiculous, but
It
nobody
sounds it
really
sounds very
says it.
silly.
Yeah,
Kubera. That's
but it's a
ridiculous.
like wealth management app kind of thing,
Oh.
and its take, which I like its take a lot, is it doesn't do budgeting. So,
Okay.
usually you try to do these things and it's sucking in like every pizza order
Yep.
you did, and you're
Yep.
like, I'm not organizing my pizza spending and
Yep.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't do any of that. It's just the totals of like your assets and your debts, and here's a total. And whatever, there's some intricacies in that, but I'm kind of enjoying it because it's like I'm never gonna do the budgeting, not doing it. And I'm not gonna care how much I spend in each little niche. But it's nice to have the big picture, and then it also like lets you upload documents and have notes. So
Hmm.
like if Jamie doesn't know where stuff actually is or whatever, like different like when you're invested in ConvertKit, does she know where the documents are for that? Does she know how to get a hold of
Oh, so
somebody if I
breaking
drop dead?
breaking news. You're invested in ConvertKit.
Yeah, you knew that.
I don't think I knew that.
What are you talking about? We talk about it. We talked about it on here. No.
I don't know. Who knows? Who can
Well,
say for sure? Not me.
I am an investor in ConvertKit. So
Oh, that's awesome. You mean
I did
Kit?
get screwed. Kit. I did get screwed. I didn't tell this story on here.
Man, I don't know, but it all feels new
Should
to
I?
me. So it either happened at right after we had babies and I don't remember, or it never
It could
happened. But either
be.
way, I'm on the edge of my seat.
All right, well, I'll tell you that story in a second. But yeah. So anyway, it's nice to have the central place. Like we kind of have it in the spreadsheet now, but it's kind of janky. So I don't know. I kind of like this thing. Check it out. We'll put a link. Whatever. I don't know. It's like $150 a year or something. I've only been using it for 2 days, so that's the level of
Oh,
recommendation
okay.
you're
So
getting on
yeah,
that.
we'll
This is
check
not
back in a
like
week. Let's let it
yeah,
cool for a
yeah,
second.
exactly. Yeah. So Nathan Barry, who's the founder of ConvertKit,
Heard of him?
I knew him before he started ConvertKit and all this. He would go to
Mm-hmm.
these little bootstrapper conferences that I would
Mm-hmm.
attend, and knew him from there and all that stuff. And he started ConvertKit and then started doing a little action, but then it kind of just went flat, so on and
Mm-hmm.
so forth. Anyway, it started getting some traction kind of around the same time. Like, I don't know if you remember Drip, but like Rob
Mm-hmm.
Wallings had a similar product called Drip. And so anyway, it started doing well, and he was thinking about selling, or he was thinking about getting investors. And I ran into him at the SaaStr conference. This is like
Okay.
2017, 16, 18, I don't know, something like that. And I'm like, dude, let me invest. I want to invest. And he's like, okay, I will if I do investment. He didn't do any investment, right? So I got screwed because now the thing is worth tons of money. It's growing millions of dollars a month or whatever. And I didn't get to invest then. He eventually sold some shares and did this little investment round in like 2021 or 22 or something. So I did invest some money at that point. And it's doubled, I think, in approximate value, which is nice. Oh man,
Could have
if I
been
had
so
been in
much
it
more.
2018, yeah, I'd be retired right now.
You
I'd be
you were
done.
you
I'd be
were
hanging out.
early.
I was early. I had an eye for these things. Dude, let me give you some money. Just let me write you a check. I was like, literally right here in this conference. I'll just write you a check right now. He was like, all right, I'm thinking
Man.
about it.
God, that's the
So good.
dream. That's the dream. Having a
It's so
business
the
where
dream.
some guy that you barely know from the internet, from from the Laravel community, who is this guy, walks up
Before
to you.
Laravel.
He's like, hey, I want to write you a check right now on the spot.
Oh,
That's
that
the
direction of it,
dream.
yes.
Yeah,
that
that's
angle of it, yes.
awesome.
The other side of it, yeah.
That is super cool.
So anyway, I feel millions of dollars poor, even though it wasn't a
Yeah.
real thing, and like he didn't actually take investment from anybody else. So I didn't actually get screwed, but it feels like I got screwed.
But
It's
still,
like
it's
I
a
was
better
there.
story that way. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that. So
Anyways,
wait. Last week or
hmm,
the week before, I was telling you like, oh, I'm gonna work on building a budgeting system, and you're like,
yeah,
you don't need to budget. Yeah, it's
mm,
crazy. You're wasting your time.
I agree.
Uh, yeah. So now you're doing big wealth tracking, guy. So what's the deal
Oh,
here?
that's nothing. It took me like 30 minutes to input the like 7 assets we have into this little app. Like it's like not a big deal. I
So
didn't build it. First
you're
of
not
all, I didn't build it.
anti-tracking. You're anti me
Yeah.
building something, and you're anti
Yeah.
micro budgeting.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I agree on micro budgeting. I don't think it's valuable, super valuable to say like, oh, you spent this much at this particular coffee shop this month. Like,
Yeah. And
I just want number to go up. That's all I want.
Yeah, and it would be cool. I wouldn't even be totally opposed to it if there was like some practical solution where like the stores fed to the credit card company properly and it was actually organized correctly. But it's just you just get these huge categories that are useless. It's like, okay,
Right.
Amazon. Or, well, I mean, I bought like a million types of things. I bought food. I bought house stuff. I bought all this stuff.
House stuff. House stuff is such a big category. It's like, wait, I spent $800 on house stuff? What is house stuff?
Right.
It's like paper towels, a new broom, just random crap, batteries. Like, how did I spend $800 on batteries? Yeah.
So am I going to go? So that means the only solution is for you to spend your actual time to go in there and literally look up every transaction and categorize. Like, that's
what the computer is for. That's what the computer is for.
But you can't even do it with it. Even the computer can't do it because the data is not anywhere.
Watch me, Ian. I'm gonna do it.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
you should not be doing any of this. Please don't.
I should be. This is my muse. This is what keeps me going.
I feel like we could find a better way for you to keep yourself going. There's got to be something out there better than micro budgeting.
I don't know. It's good. So? It's good. Yeah, it's good.
You're gonna use the LLM. You're gonna feed it all in there and all that.
Potentially, yeah. I might become big AI guy. I might do a thread on 10 surprising uses of AI.
Even there, I mean, you still can't do it from the credit card feed, so you have to like actually log into Amazon, actually log into every rando site you used your credit card on. I mean,
I'm on it.
It's not going to be easy.
I got it. It's gonna be be interesting though. We don't do it because it's easy. We do it because it's interesting. This is the life, Ian. This is the life of a content creator. You don't do things rationally. You do it for the content. You do it for the lulls, you know?
The lulls. I do like doing things for the lulls.
You have to sometimes just do things for the lulls. Sometimes you do it for the money. Sometimes you do it for the giggles. And sometimes you do it for both.
Maybe that's my beef with this, is it feels too much towards something real. Like if it was more wacky, then it'd be like, it's for the lulls. Like, fine.
Yeah, but I don't like... Yeah, so if I'm like, oh, let's create a game in the terminal, that would be super fun and super for the lulz, but I don't want to do that, you know? And so for me, it'd be like, oh, that sucks. I'm too practical. I'm way too normie. Yeah. I'm way too normie. So
I have that issue myself.
Yeah, I don't want to do something that's just like totally out of left field that has no utility, that I'm just like doing strictly for content. That feels I don't want to do that.
I had this idea for the show.
I love it. He's already smiling. What is the idea? This is devious.
An idea.
Hey.
Feels like the kind of thing we should talk about off air, but
even better. This is so juicy. Unless this is some sort of criticism of me, then we take it off air.
It's not a criticism.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, all right. Give us, what do you got?
So, last week I was talking about my idea and all that stuff, right? And whatever. I talked to some people about that, by the way. I don't know if that's going to go anywhere. It's probably not. But
oh man,
we just table that for a second. I kind of like the idea of us doing a contest.
I love a contest.
Love a contest. Right?
I love a contest. What are we contesting?
We are contesting. It's kind of like a riff on last week, where like people apply.
Yeah,
with
their
apps. Okay. We pick one that we will invest in.
Oh boy, yeah.
All right. We each put in, we get a few percent, whatever. We figure that part out, right? And then we bring this person on the journey, and they bring us on their journey of like they're on the show once in a while. Maybe we have like a monthly update. We can give our advice.
This is great. This is
all that kind of stuff. It's a good idea, right?
This is great.
Like we can share the platform, get them some initial customers. That's like what we're bringing.
Yep.
Maybe you do a video once with them, right?
I'd
Whatever.
We can do a video. Yeah.
We'll pull them into stuff, and maybe we get a little upside, and everybody's equally motivated to make it work, right?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Let's wet our beak. So that's what it was. Kind of a riff on that.
Love it. This is a great idea. Great idea. This is great content too. Okay, so just for giggles, let's play this out. We're not committing to anything. Maybe I don't know. It sounds great. Okay, so bunch of people submit these apps, and we look through them, and we're like, these are the ones, or these are the one or two that we think have financial or potential upside, right?
Right.
And then what are we doing? We're giving them money so that they can spend more time on it. We're giving them money plus marketing. We're giving them advice.
Yeah, I mean, I probably will depend somewhat on like what stage they're at a little bit, right? Like, is this an idea? Is it already an app that works and has some customers? There's sort of a gap there, but like, I mean, I think of it as not that much money. I think it's not like we're here writing $100,000 check. It's like you probably actually have to have some money. So maybe it's 1,000 or a few thousand or whatever. But what they're getting is not the money. I think is in my idea. Like maybe there's some cases where they really need the money, and we love the idea so much that maybe there's a little more money. But to me, it's not the money. It's not our value. Our value is like access to us, which is a little value, advice and whatever, but then also, more of a platform, get yourself out there. I think
access
ideally
to our
distribution. I think it would be fun for the show.
Oh, it's great for the show.
I think going through the applications could be fun for the show. So that's kind of my thing. I don't think it's a big money play. I think it's access to the distribution, access to us and our connections, and as well as our experience. So I kind of think that's, to me, the idea.
So here's the question. Are you ready to break more hearts? You've just broken, 999 hearts. And now you're like, okay, not even just people applying for jobs. I want all of the people in our community to send me their hopes and dreams.
Literally
and I'm gonna
everyone.
say no to 99 of them. Are you ready for that?
90% of our listeners have a project or side project
that's
right at this moment.
Yes, exactly right. And I'm sure you got some percentage of like listeners / friends applying for the job, but that this is going to be 100% listeners / friends. And you're gonna come on air and be like, nah, this is never gonna work. Next. I don't know.
That's why I have you here, right? That's you.
I don't have the emotional fortitude for that.
You're a bad cop.
No, there's no world in which I am bad cop or emotionally prepared to say no to people. There's no way. I bought a book called The Courage to Be Disliked, and I'm like one chapter through it, so I'm nowhere close to ready for that.
You better hurry up and finish that.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's some things we'd have to think about that, right? Like, I mean, I don't really want to go through 1,000 apps in some ways, right? I don't want, and we definitely wouldn't want to do that on the show. So anything on the show has to be like finalist level, of course.
Right.
I don't know. So
we could do some sort of like public community voting thing, and that would absolve us from some responsibility.
Yes. I don't know. If it's such a big edge though, to like somebody who just has 100,000 followers who wants in on this, like they can just win that over somebody who doesn't,
That's true.
I think that's hard. Plus, most people aren't very good at.
Maybe we set up a system where people vote for delegates, and then delegates get to vote for whomever they want. That sounds fun, right? I'm sure that's never been tried before.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea though. It sounds like great content. It sounds like a lot of fun.
It does.
And I love to have my fingers in things. I love to have
this is another thing.
Controlling a little puppet out there. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Well, this is like over the years, I've just done these like $2,000 investments in like probably 15 companies or whatever, and through like these different syndicates and whatnot. And it's like that kind. It's nice to just be like, yeah, I'm just a little involved in something. Like I'm not out there doing the work, as we talked about last week. But other people are doing the work, but but that's like totally hands off, which is great. But also is like completely hands off. This is like a little in between, like a little hands on.
Little hands on, but a lot of credit, but a very little bit of work.
Love the credit.
Bit of work.
I don't know. Is there a way to? I mean, you could. I mean, at the end of the day, you just go through the applicants and you slash and burn, and you come up with
yeah. You lose a bunch of friends. Perfect. Yeah. I think we should do it. I think we got to figure out mechanics, but I think we should do it. It sounds awesome.
Yeah. Don't send us anything yet. We gotta kick this around.
Definitely don't send me anything. Send it all to Ian. So tell me, you got a lot of feedback from you're like, I don't know what the correct meme is, but you went out there and you dangled $30,000 in equity, and then you were like, oh my goodness, I can't believe people contacted me. What am I gonna do?
This is so interesting because like Actually, so I ended up talking like 2 or 3 groups or individuals who I thought who made like a reasonable outreach and all that stuff. First of all, just the number of people who are like, "Yo, dude, pick me." Like the number of "Yo, dude, pick me," or like, "Yo, I could do it. Let's talk." Just like literally one line on
Yo,
Twitter or whatever.
dude.
I'm like, I don't know, guys.
I don't
What
know.
are
I
you
kind of
doing?
vibe with the yo dude pick me. I dig that.
Nobody gets picked from "Yo, dude, pick me." It's like,
I don't know.
nah,
I
man,
don't
nobody gets
know.
picked. I mean, if it's somebody I
You can
super new,
yes, you
maybe,
can
right?
trade
Like,
on your reputation with a yo dude pick me.
maybe. Like, if you did it or, Nuno did it or something, maybe I'd be like, okay, like, I know they're serious
I didn't
and
know
I
you
know
were in
them.
the game. The yo dude picked me, like showed me that you're like in the game and let's talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But this was not people I know on that level. This was just
Yeah.
like there was one of those people, and I did actually talk to that person. But that's because I
nice.
super know them super well, and that's fine.
Sure.
But like if I don't know you and you're like, "Yo, dude, pick me," I'm not picking you. So
You know
it's
how
very
many yo
weird.
dude pick me's you're gonna get after this podcast?
For the app.
Yeah. Yo, you're gonna get a bunch of people saying yo dude pick me. Guarantee
I know.
you.
I know. Here's my GitHub repo. Here you go. Look at it.
Yep.
I got a half built. Anyway,
Yeah.
you got to put the effort in, people. Put the effort in. And if you don't want to put the effort in, see, that's where people get mad at me. I'm totally fine if you don't want to put the effort in. But then don't expect that you will get the outcome. That's all. Like, if you're not putting the effort in and you know you don't want to do that, which there's tons of stuff I don't want to put the effort into, and I don't, and then I don't get the outcome, and that's fine. Like, that's totally cool. I don't think you have to write a crazy fancy cover letter for every job, but then also just realize that you are putting yourself, in a worse position than somebody who is. Doesn't mean it won't work out for you. It might still work out for you at some point, but you're not going to be as far ahead as somebody else. That's all.
Exactly.
That's fine.
Yep. All right, we've done that. We've done that bit. Tell me what happened.
We've done that bit. So, so I talked to a few people. I don't know. Like, the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, man, I don't know. It's like, I think it's a decent idea, but when you talk about it more, you're like, maybe I'm cooling a little bit. I'm also like, just more, it still like involves me to some degree, probably more than I want to be involved in something else right now.
Are you still in a contraction phase? Are you still trying to get things off your plate?
Yes, I want to contract.
Okay, so this is an expansion
to some
move.
degree. It's a little more, maybe a little expansion-y. I did have a little side quest where I used the GoDaddy service where they'll go hunt down a domain for you.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Just to try the .com version of the domain. And the people got right back to them. Like, it's actually, I think that's the first time I ever used that service. It was actually kind of impressive. But they got back to me in like a day and like, yeah, the people, they'll sell it to you for 100,000. And I'm like, this is like a 2-word domain.
Yeah. I was thinking more like 3,000. Yeah, how does that strike you?
So the GoDaddy guy was like, you should counter 15. And I was like, nah, just tell them like, whatever. I'm not interested. For anywhere near that. But anyway, it's out there. Like, obviously you could go back and forth, but everybody does like the domain. So at some point on here, if I talk to these people and we end up not doing anything, I will update with the domain and we'll close that loop. But,
yeah, by the way, I got a bone to pick with you. There's a back channel and you're like telling everybody else in the back channel what the idea is, but specifically excluding me because you're like, no, we got to keep his reaction fresh for the show. So all these people know that I have no idea what it is. Still, to this day, no idea.
Do you guys out there see what I do for you? I injure my relationship. I injure my relationship with Aaron for the people, for the listeners.
There's no way you're turning this around to get credit for yourself. The credit for this one goes to me. I suffer for the show.
I will sacrifice anything for the show and the listeners.
Yeah, I appreciate you sacrificing me on the altar of the show. That's great.
Come on, you're the king of the like. Save it. It's a bit for the show. I love a good bit.
I do love a bit. That
if
is,
you know the
I am hoisted there. I'm hoisted by my own petard on that one.
When I tell the show, you're going to be like, yeah, that was interesting when you said that. Yeah.
You need to be first of all, been that boring in my life.
yeah, I guess that's a good idea.
That's the worst impression I've heard of myself.
That's because you don't know what I'm going to say ahead of time.
I don't. So are you going to reveal So did you tell these people? What did you talk to these people about? You're like, yeah, we're gonna do it. We're not gonna do it.
Gave
What's
me
the
the
deal?
idea. A few people, everybody was like, okay, like I'm gonna think about it, and I'll double back with them this week. And I think like 98% chance nothing's ever gonna happen, but 2% chance.
Okay, I think you should do it. If you find somebody that's you feel like has it, you should do it.
Yeah. But we got this new app now. Now I got a whole new thing where we do it
Not
together.
yet. We don't have anything.
We got to do it for the show. People out there, they want us.
Wait, we haven't even.
Do the app.
We were 1 week into a great storyline about Ian being this angel investor co-founder thing, and now it's over. And now we're starting a whole new storyline.
Yeah, but that's because it's evolved into a better idea, which is the show is doing it, and you and me are in it together.
That is better. That is better for content. I will agree.
Yeah. And there's already somebody else who's got the idea, who is the visionary. We are just facilitating the visionary, which is
you want to extricate yourself from the driver's seat.
Extricate myself. There's a lot of people have good ideas out there. I'm not the only person with ideas. So you just need a leg up. Just give them a leg up.
Okay. All right. Okay. We'll see.
Don't send us anything yet.
Don't send us anything yet. Specifically me. Don't send me anything ever. Send it all to me.
Send me a yo, dude. Check out this.
Send him a yo, dog. I'm in, and we'll see where that goes. That sounds great. I saw on that same note, Jason McCreary of Laravel Shift fame tweeted out this morning that he's had some idea for a long time and doesn't have time to do it, and is looking to partner up with somebody in the community. So
I didn't even see that.
Maybe started a trend. Little did he know the trend is over. It is a has-been trend. We're moving on, but maybe this is a thing with people with successful or some successful businesses that have ideas that don't have time to do the other ones. Start a little accelerator. I like it.
This is a thing people do in the real world all the time that devs, I feel like, don't think about, because like we want to build the idea. Like we want to be building the idea. And then we realize we don't have time to build the idea, so we just don't do the idea. But in the real world, right? Like you're just a dude with money. And
is this what investors are? Is that what we call those?
Exactly. That's exactly what investors are.
Okay.
And they're like, how do I do this idea? I can't do any parts of this idea. Literally none of it. How do I do it? And you find people to do it for money.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to consider that. I like that.
I know.
I like that idea. I guess one of the problems is the money. You got to have the money. So that's like a step zero. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pity. I'll work on that part. I'll be curious to see if anybody takes Jason up on that. I'm sure it's a super compelling. Yeah. I want to be involved. I want to do this. Right. So we'll see if he comes out with anything.
Maybe I'll give him a yo dude.
Yeah, hit him up with a yo dude. See what he says.
Like, yo dude, I'm in.
Yeah, so then you have 2 people that don't want to build and 1 idea. That's perfect. Yeah, that's a great team. You guys are going to go far.
I love Laravel Shift. Laravel Shift is so good. That's like one of the few ideas out there. I'm like, I wish I thought of that idea. I don't think I could build it, but I just wish I thought of it. It's like such a good idea.
You could build it. I'm sure it's challenging, but I feel like mostly a lot of like brute force effort.
It is a lot like that. It is the one of those, in that regard, it is very interesting, because I feel like there's a lot of like just here's an ugly regex that does a bunch of ugly stuff, which is like right up my alley of like hackiness that I do enjoy. So that part is probably true. Yeah, it is just a lot of like going through folders looking for stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like he could charge, and I've told him this, I feel like he could charge 2 to 3 to 4 times as much, and people would be like, yeah, sure, that's fine.
Right.
Like his shifts are like $9 or something.
I know, it's crazy.
It's crazy. All right, where are we going next?
Do you want to do a you update, or you want to do your little side quest here, or should we save that for the end?
Let's do a me update. Right. We'll keep it on hiring, because I think we are going to hire somebody. So Try Hard Studios is going to hire somebody. It's going to be
already expanding.
Don't yo dog me, guys. This is not. This is different.
Send your application.
No.
To Aaron's Twitter account right now.
No, please don't. This is what I'm hiring for. We're hiring. A few weeks ago we talked about the Lindas of the world that keep the world running.
Mhm.
You know, the 65-year-old person that sits at a title company that knows where everything is, and all the dumb young people don't know where anything is.
Yep.
That's what we're looking for.
Okay.
And we had a few people reach out after the last podcast, or the podcast where we talked about it. Steve and I are going to take a few calls this week with people that could potentially be. It's like a mix of, you know, executive, admin, chief of staff, marketing manager, basically all like frontline support, all of that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Because something I'm continuing to have a hard time coming to terms with, but I have intellectually arrived, but emotionally I'm lagging. That like my time is not well spent answering emails and taking old podcasts and, you know, putting clips together. Like that's just a waste. That's a waste of my time.
Yeah.
So we found a few people who sent either emails or Twitter DMs after that were just like spot on. Like, hey, here's what I've done. First of all, like I listened to your podcast, which is a great start. Here's what I've done. Here's why I think I can help you. And like here's like my skill set. And so, you know, we've got I think two or three maybe that could potentially just totally nail this.
Interesting.
And so Steve and I have started writing down a list of things that like this person could do. And some of it's like as simple as, you know, managing the content calendar or making sure that we have email sequences built for all of our courses. Or like I was listening to a friend of the show, Nathan Barry, whom you're invested in. Yeah, you know that guy.
Yeah.
I was listening to one of his episodes on one of his podcasts, Who Can Say For Sure, and he was talking about he's got a full-time content person for obviously ConvertKit, but he's also got a full-time content person for his own personal brand, which I'm not at that level of income. Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not at that level of income, but we need somebody like every week. I do at least one podcast, mostly technical. It's a great show. I do at least one.
Love it.
Many times I do more than one podcast, and those podcasts like are interesting and then they just die. It's just, you know,
just gone.
100 or 1,000 or 5,000 people listen and then it's just over.
Yep.
And that's a waste. And I think being able to like, I can produce the content and then this person can listen to the show. And what Nathan was saying was that his person will listen to every podcast that he's on and pull out 2 or 3 or 4 ideas for written articles or newsletters and say like, okay, this article should go on your personal site. This one should go to your, you know, $1 billion creator newsletter. And that person comes back to Nathan with like, here are the 3 ideas. Here are the stubs of the articles. What do you want to add? What do you want to change? That kind of stuff. And so as we are doubling down on Aaron Francis being the top of the funnel, the personal brand, I think getting more personal brand content out there, getting more personal brand content out there and more stuff on my personal website is going to be valuable. So that's one of the things that this person will do is like every week, listen to everything that I do and be like, hey, here's, you know, based on what you said here, here's beginnings of an article. You should finish this out and put it on your website. Yep. So stuff like that, where it's like, there are things we know we should be doing. It's not even like, come in and help us figure out what to do. It's like, no, we've got 15 things that we know we should do that we just don't have time for. So, yeah, I think we're going to hire someone. It's going to be part-time, probably like 20 hours a week. But it is a start.
Wow. Well, that's very interesting. So, and these are only going to be people who heard about it on the podcast. I don't know if you also tweeted about it or not. I think you might have.
I don't think I tweeted about it. Steve and I decided
just from the
podcast. Steve and I decided if we don't find somebody that is great from these 2 or 3 people, then I'll tweet about it.
Yeah. And then you'll go through that big list there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have them DM you for the first screen.
Yeah, I'll do the first screening. Me and producer Dave can do round 1 for
please.
you. Yeah, it sounds perfect. I think, especially with the content being such a huge part of your guys' angle on things, like, yeah, you just have to always be producing. And how much can you do, especially with building the courses? Obviously, something's got to give. You can't, the courses can't give. Your personal stuff gives, and that's bad. I go 2 or 3 months with not a lot of action there, and only you can do the videos on your stuff really.
Correct.
So yeah, I like the whole written angle to it, and they can make shorts, like you said, or whatever,
Right.
all the other stuff that we've talked about that they can do. So I love it. I think that's a very wise
Yeah.
investment there.
Oh, thanks. I feel like we are transitioning, or like perhaps realizing that we are a media company.
Yeah.
I think there's part of me that thought that maybe we were something different, which I
Mm,
don't know what the different thing would be. Maybe like a video production company or something. Um,
right.
but I think what I'm realizing is we are a media company, and the less, like, we went out in the very beginning and we're like, let's be consultants, and everybody was like,
Right.
no, just make
Right.
videos. And maybe we're still like adjusting to that reality. I kind of thought people would pay us for advice, and that doesn't sound like that just hasn't worked.
Mm,
And people are just throwing money at us to create content. So it's like, wait, what if we just created content
right.
instead?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I think I'm coming to terms with. And the reality of that is, like, I need to produce more, and I'm already kind of at my limit, perhaps over my limit. And so having
Right.
someone else take a lot of the work that I'm doing, like even these Laravel YouTube videos should be turned back into articles that go on my personal website. Like, that is
Right.
just foolish that I'm not letting that content live in the written form
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, blocking and tackling, I think is going to be really helpful.
Yeah. I mean, so many businesses are like that. I mean, even like other, if we take a YouTube angle out, like Doug DeMiro, I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a big
Man, I
car
know that
YouTuber.
name.
He's
Car.
like
Okay.
one of the biggest car YouTubers. And so like you could think about like, oh, he's whatever, he makes money on YouTube, right? And he's a YouTube guy and he gets paid
Mm-hmm.
whatever the ads are, and maybe does a few sponsored things. But he started this website, Cars and Bids, which is a car auction site.
Okay, I've heard of
And
Cars and
so
Bids. Yeah.
yeah, so he leveraged his media empire effectively
Right.
into this application or website. So yeah, it's like if you stay up there, then you have different options of how you actually funnel those eyeballs
Mm-hmm.
into what types of products, as opposed to just being like, we make courses. That's what we do.
Right.
Maybe you don't make courses forever, right? Maybe there's other things. Like once you have people following you and the distribution and the eyeballs and people like you and all that stuff, then yeah, maybe you do a SaaS app, maybe you do a different kind of app, maybe you do advertising, whatever, who knows, all kinds of different things. But or you just make courses and they do better and better, which is great too.
Yeah, that
Maybe
would be
someday
great.
you're
I
not the
think
only one making the courses. So
that is also on the table. I think mentally assigning TryHard Studios as a media company is helpful for me.
yeah, just reframing.
Yeah.
I think that's the right frame, especially since that's how
Yeah.
you started it. Like that's like you're already there. It's not like, well,
Oh, yeah.
we're
Yeah.
going to do this in the future and we're going to try to build up the YouTube and what, like it's like, no, you already,
No, we're
like,
just
obviously it
there
could be
already.
bigger, but yeah, it's like
Yep.
you're already successful at that. So all this is interesting. First hire already. Wow, this is
Isn't
going
that
to be
crazy?
awesome.
In
Yeah.
fact, we've already hired some contract help. We hired
Oh,
a guy that I've worked with before to take some of the SQLite videos and turn them into articles, because it's like,
oh, yeah,
the SQLite website should have more content on it. And so
yeah,
we will. I've got this, so far 65 videos. It may come out to be like 85 or 90. And the transcripts are there, which I think is valuable. They need to be cleaned up. But I think having more articles on the site is pretty important. And that's another
SEO.
thing that I don't need to do. And
Yeah,
this
you
is the
definitely need
good
to do
thing
that.
about this guy. His guy's name is JD Lean. He's in and around the Laravel ecosystem. The good thing about this guy is he writes, but he also, like, he deeply knows databases. And so it's like,
Oh,
this is
perfect.
perfect. Just watch the videos and write about whatever you want about SQLite.
Right.
Just go, 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 go.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I think that's really good. I mean, you got all these videos, just like take a snippet or of them, maybe
Yep.
put it on the page and then have the whole article about the same topic. And that should do pretty well, I would think.
More than
And
zero.
definitely more than zero.
Yep.
And I think we talked about this before, but yeah, the SQLite being a little, I just think it's a little more open for you to dominate the SEO end of
I do
that
too.
than maybe Postgres will be. So I think that's a good one to really, I mean, I would do the same thing for Postgres anyway, but
Yeah,
I
we
think with
will.
SQLite, you could really rank very highly because I just think there's less out there on it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like that a lot. That's even like another angle with, like, when you were talking about going on podcasts and stuff, I want to do more guest spots on podcasts
Yep.
because I mean, it's like you get the obviously people hear you, which is fine. But even these subtler things, like you get the links to your products from usually a high domain rank site and
Yep.
a solid site, which is not that easy to do these days because it's all kind of gamed out at this point. So even those little benefits add up, if you can get the good links back and all that. So, and then reusing the content, of course, is even better, which I've definitely never done, but should. I want to do a podcast tour at some point. That's kind of on my list.
You should.
Podcast tour. Yo me if you want me on your
Yo
podcast.
dog, yeah, hit him with a yo dog.
That one you can yo dog me. If you yo dog me if you want me on your podcast, and
give him some topics. Give the people some topics. What would you talk about? Running a business for 20 years.
Yeah, I think we could do. I mean, I'm usually good with any of it, but I think we could do like the business perspective. I think we do like, this is something nobody ever has me on for, but we could do like customer service angles on things for like, well, presumably this is more for smaller groups, but even if you have a audience that's for bigger companies, we could do that. Obviously Laravel and all that stuff, just whatever.
Bootstrapping, that's a good one.
Bootstrapping, all that stuff. And just wanted me to come on and hang out for 4 hours, like a Lex Friedman style.
We got to get you on Startups for the Rest of Us. Why have you not ever been on Startups for the Rest of Us?
I never really did the podcast thing. Was I never on Startups for the Rest of Us? I don't think I have been, right?
You would know better. You tell me.
I think so. I mean, it's been around forever, on it? Right?
It's been around forever. I've probably listened to it for 10 years.
Let's see.
Ian Landsman, Startups for the Rest of Us. Advice on selling a startup, early days SaaS, episode 160.
I was mentioned. Our second question is from a podcast. Okay, so we sent in a question. I think I wasn't really on
Ian Landsman and Andre Butov's podcast. Wow.
Back in the day.
I listened to that. That was crazy.
Back in the day. Yeah, I guess I haven't been on there. Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, there's so many good podcasts that like it would be fun to be on. And
all right, some listener needs to yo dog Rob and tell Rob that Ian needs to come on Startups for the Rest of Us. So somebody do Ian's bidding here. Make it look natural though.
I remember being at a conference, Business of Software, which used to be an awesome conference. I think it's still going. I haven't been to it in a long time. And Rob was like giving this talk about had like a drop shipping site that sold like
beach towels,
beach umbrellas or towels, or that whole thing.
Oh yeah,
and it's crazy, man. Look at you. You were in the mix.
Oh, I've been around. I have been around. Listen, you want to hear my Nathan Barry, Rob Walling, Josh Pickford crossover story? Yes. I went to MicroConf 2012. That's Rob's conference, and didn't know anyone in the world. Was on the MicroConf forums like a month before, and saw this guy that was like, "Hey, does anybody need a roommate for MicroConf?" And I'm like, this is the last thing I ever want to do because I love to be alone, but this would give me a conference buddy. And so I looked him up. His name was Josh Pigford. I looked him up on Twitter. He seemed pretty normal. I could tell that we shared some of the same background, and I was like, all right, I'm going to take a risk. I hope he doesn't kill me. So I roomed with Josh Pigford. I think we like slept in the same bed, and went down to breakfast one day and sat with like Nathan Barry and Brennan Dunn and Patrick McKenzie and Josh Pigford, and it was like it was the old days, man. And that was still not the old days. There's still Joel on software, but this was like the old days of MicroConf when you could walk in and like I think Jason Cohen was there too, and so I'm sitting at breakfast with all these people that I'm like, specifically Patio 11 at that point. I'm like, oh, you're the 11. Bingo card guy. You're a hero. And I'm just sitting at breakfast listening to them all talk. I'm like, this is crazy. And so, yeah, that's my, I've been around. I've been around
you
for a long time. You
were in the mix way back then. Wow.
Way back.
You were only like 23 or something, right? I guess.
Something like that, yeah.
Patio 11, it could have been that year. Around that time, Patio 11 taught me how to play poker at MicroConf. That was my first time playing poker.
Got your first taste.
Yeah, he got me hooked. But yeah, no, those were. I mean, has anybody ever gotten more juice out of an app that made like $32,000 a year than Patio 11 on the Bingo Card Creator?
No,
like,
absolutely not.
He got max value.
Max value, and he did. I think some of his old MicroConf stories were like he would go do a 1 week A/B test consulting, and get paid like $60,000, $80,000, $100,000. just for like a week, and then would go back to his bingo card thing where he made, $2,000 a month or whatever.
So good. Oh,
So
man.
good.
Then he got the job at Stripe, and now he's presumably wealthy.
Yeah, presumably.
I do love Patio 11, and he's still wearing the red jacket. He's got
still wearing the red jacket
like that. I need a shtick.
You love a strong brand. That's just the best.
I feel like I could come up with something.
It's not too late. You don't have an identifiable piece of outerwear. You could do the outerwear brand. It might be too late to like change your whole shtick, but if you wanted to add a fun flair, you could do that. You can pull that off.
See, in like high school, the beard was my thing, because like people didn't wear beards in general, and nobody could was even capable of growing a beard. So it's like I was the beard guy. But on the internet, like everybody's got a beard, so it doesn't really
you could do like a fun red ascot or something. That might be a little dramatic, but you could do that.
Now you're talking.
A kerchief or but don't explain it. Don't explain it ever. Just show up to Laracon with a red kerchief and be like, "What are you talking about? I've always had this. This is my brand."
I like pocket squares, but then I need a pocket.
But then you need a pocket. Yeah, so pocket square and a t-shirt. You look like an idiot. Oh, jacket guy.
Jacket t-shirt guy, too like VC-ish, or something.
Trying way too hard. Yeah, too hard to be casual.
All right, I gotta come up with something.
Think about it. It's worth considering.
Gotta be colorful. Could be hat guy.
Gotta be colorful. Hat guy. Everybody's hat guy.
Yeah, it's too easy.
It's too easy. We don't have a face tattoo guy.
I've thought about face tattoo.
It's too
I do
permanent.
want to get a tattoo. I want a tattoo badly.
I do too. Actually, I don't want a tattoo. I want a sleeve, but I don't know what I would get, and so that's like, well, that's kind of hard because it's a lot of tattoos.
Yeah, I don't think I want to go full sleeve. I feel like it's a little too much. Plus, there's a lot of sleeves out there now. All the sports guys, they do the neck tattoo. What about neck tattoo?
The little across the Adam's apple.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's a little too much. I would go side, under the ear, but neck.
Can you imagine Ian Landsman with a neck tattoo? That would make more of a statement than a kerchief, I will admit.
Mostly technical right here.
I love the show, but you're on your own on that one.
Anything
just
for the listeners.
For the record. Yes, you will do anything for the listeners. I will not. All right, we got two more. What do you want to do?
All right, let's talk about 25-seat license sale,
25-seat license. I got a call from Steve. I don't know if it was Friday or Saturday. I actually don't remember. But I got a call from Steve. He was like, "Dude, I think we just sold a 25-seat license." And up until this point, every single sale has been an individual except for one 3-seat license.
Really? Interesting.
I think so. Yeah, I haven't actually looked, but I think that's right.
It's around there.
It's around there. It rounds to that. And so he called and he's like, "Dude, we just sold 25 seats." And that I think is like, $3,000 or something. And we're both
early
like
bird.
Yeah. And we're both like, are we getting scammed somehow? Like is somebody trying to take money from us by giving us money? I don't understand what's happening. And we looked up the domain and it's some legit, just like healthcare analytics company or something. And that's it. Never heard from him. Never emailed us, never needed a, pay with a purchase order or anything. Just blew my mind. And I think we're going to get a lot more of this on Postgres. We have talked on this show about like the pricing structure and like what's the other tier going to be. And we just kind of settled on, let's just put a team tier on there. One, yes, teams need to buy, but two, they can give us a price anchor. So if you see like 3 seats for $600, but you can buy it yourself for $149, you're like, oh, wow, what a deal.
Right.
And so I spent some time like actually coding up the way to do that. And I thought, is this a waste of time? And then I convinced myself that it wasn't. But it paid off. So we sold this license. And what happens is in the background, we send them an email with a lemon squeezy coupon that is for 100% off, and it has a 20. It can be used 25 times. And so rather than being like, "Hey, great, thanks for buying. Why don't you shoot over a CSV of email addresses and we'll get it?" It's like, I don't want to do any of that. They don't want to do any of that.
Build an actual team manager.
No
thing
freaking way.
Stuff. Yeah.
No, or like build 25 inputs where they need to gather up all the email addresses and then they're gonna be like, "Hey, I don't have them right now. Can I just send them to you?" No, sir. So yeah, they just get one coupon code that they can just drop in Slack and be like, "Hey, the dev team, here you go. Go get this course for free." And you know what? They actually get 26 seats because the person that bought it gets a seat. Because I that's another thing I didn't want to deal with. I didn't want to sell 3 seats and then the guy come back and be like, "Hey, I'm actually the manager. I don't need a seat. I'm just the credit card holder. So you need to
Mm,
give us another seat. I'm like, I don't care.
right.
If we end up giving away one extra seat, or the manager gets a seat that he doesn't use, don't freaking care. I just don't want to deal with
Right.
it. So
Yep.
I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with not only the fact that
It's
we
awesome.
sold 25 seats, but the fact that the licensing thing worked out so nicely.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot there actually. So actually, speaking of Patio 11, me and him used to have this little bit of battle because his whole thing was like charge more for everything
Yep.
all the time, and I was a little bit of a counter voice to that. That like I just feel like there's a lot of market pressure, and you can't always charge more, especially in like these competitive spaces. Whatever. Like I don't know if HelpSpot I can charge more for it than Zendesk. Zendesk top tier. Like I don't know if that's gonna work, but when you go from selling to consumers to selling to businesses, like that is just an inherent charge more area that is so incredibly valuable because businesses just have so much more money than individuals. And people like don't really factor that in. And people get very like, oh, this is a lot of money. Nobody's going to pay this amount of money. But it's nothing to the business. The guy's probably got, $50,000 training budget and he just spent $3,700 on your SQLite. And now he's looking how to spend the other 47,000 he still has to spend or whatever,
It's not
so
his
it's like
money and he doesn't care about
not his
it.
money. He's got to spend it or he loses it, which is a whole factor people don't even think about. If you haven't been selling to businesses, everybody wants to use their budget. There's no glory in saving your budget. You don't get any credit. You don't get a raise. Like you fought for that budget and now you're going to spend it. So, and I think that's going to potentially be a nice growth area for you on the SEO side, because the thing is you're reaching all these consumers through your channels, but not necessarily like the manager types always. I mean, I'm sure there's some of them in there, right? But like the people who are out there like SQLite training, I'm looking right now for my team.
Interesting.
Somebody just assigned us a big new project and 10 of my iOS devs have to learn the intricacies of SQLite. Boom. Like they're just out there looking for a solution for that. So I could see that increasing actually over time as you build up SEO and target some of those. So yeah, that's awesome that you convinced yourself to do it. I think any way you could twist your product into being for businesses is usually a good move.
It's funny, right after they bought, none of the coupons had been redeemed, obviously. And so the average order value on our Lemon Squeezy dashboard was like, the average order value is like $250. I'm like, but the course is $149. How does that even work? So it really moved the needle on the old averages. And once people do the $0 redemptions, it'll go back to normal. But it's still kind of wild to see, $250 is the value and the ticket price is $149. So,
and how many of them even ever? I bet you all 25 won't even redeem. Like there's a lot of stuff like that goes on also. So yeah, I mean,
if this were an accounting podcast, we would call this unearned revenue, and we would call that a liability. But since it's not an accounting podcast, that's cash in the bank, baby.
It's all cash basis. I hope you're not doing any accrual stuff.
No,
cash basis, money in
the
bank.
Can you imagine? No way.
Yeah, well, that's great. Congratulations.
Thank
more
you.
of those. So the course is still selling, which is good news.
Yep, still selling.
Yeah, I love it. It's good stuff.
All right, you want to wrap on this last one?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to read this message out to you, and I want your take on it. This is from the DMs, and it says, hang on, backing up. All right, here we go. This is on a Wednesday, so put yourself in a Wednesday. Mentally, you're in a Wednesday. And I say, does next Friday afternoon work? We're on a Wednesday, and I say, does next Friday afternoon? Next Friday afternoon. The response is, no, my family is coming into town. How about next?
Yeah. This is the eternal question. The eternal question. So I've always been on team next.
This is crazy.
Should always be the next one coming. That's what I've tried to stick to. But I do agree, as it gets closer, it gets weirder to not have this and next. But there is always confusion there. Like this gets very confusing, and it's like if it's Monday and you're talking about Friday, this it's a little weird.
This is still the next. If it's Monday,
it's Thursday night, I guess it's this.
If it's Thursday night and we're talking about the Friday that follows, you say
guess,
tomorrow.
Okay.
You don't say
So
you don't
many
say
rules.
this Friday. You don't say this Friday or next Friday. If it's Thursday, you say tomorrow. But if it's Wednesday and you say this Friday, that means 2 days from now. And if it's Wednesday and you say next Friday, that means whatever, 9 days from now. If it's Monday and you say this Friday, that means the end of the week. If it's Monday and you say next Friday, it's not the next Friday. The coming Friday is this Friday.
There's nowhere in your life, though, where next doesn't mean literally the next one.
Except
of whatever
here.
it is. Except for that. That's what I'm
Except
saying.
here.
That's why it's weird.
This is it. Now, if you preface it with the next Friday would be the most the closest Friday.
Okay. Yeah. I see where you're going. It's leaving a lot up to these sort of informal rules, though, you know?
That's all English is. It's informal rules. English is vibes based. Listen, as a language, we have turned snuck into a word. The word is sneaked. The proper English word is sneaked. I sneaked into the room. And because we're all just bad at English, we've said snuck enough that they're like, yeah, fine, snuck is a word. We've made literally mean figuratively. It's just vibes. Nothing matters. It's all made up.
So much of the world is vibes based. People, they don't get that. It's all vibes.
It's all vibes based. People want it to be rules and merit and logic and reason. It's just vibes.
Well, so I used to be more of a hardliner on this, but I'm not opposed to you. I'm with you. I mean, I use the this and the next. I kind of come around to this being a thing, but I still do find it kind of confusing that next doesn't mean next, and I don't like that. But I'm not mad at you. I'm fine. I think
that.
They should have known what you were saying, I think, in that scenario, especially pretty close. But I don't like it. But we can't change it.
We got a real waffler on our hands, don't we?
I'm waffling because I know it's like when you know you can't change something, you're like, do I just throw in the towel on it?
Do you just fight or do you win? That's the question.
Fight or win.
And if you want to communicate with the other humans, you just go with this and next, meaning what they mean.
There is always confusion around this though, so it's not like totally locked in stone. They usually end up requiring a follow up of like, okay, so the 22nd or whatever, you know, like that does happen a lot. Where people are confirming because they don't know how you use the this and next. So I
use it in the correct way and in the way that everyone should use it.
Maybe that should be your preface. Like, just so you know, I use this and next correctly. So can we meet next Friday?
You know what a legal standard is? A reasonable person. And how I use language is how a reasonable person would use language. So in a court of law, you would say, would a reasonable person assume that next Friday means 2 days from now or 9 days from now? And the jury would say, oh my goodness, a reasonable person would assume it means 9 days from now. And so bingo, court of law.
Even though it's not the next, you know?
Even though it's not the next. Yes. Yeah. Reasonable person standard. Yeah. I'm sorry. The jury has found in my favor.
I wonder if there's ever been an actual court case on that. That'd be interesting. Like somebody missed a big deal or they got fired or whatever because somebody told them next Friday. And they meant
Do you remember
Friday.
the bodybuilding.com? I think it's bodybuilding.com thread where they're arguing about how many days are in a week.
I don't think I remember.
Oh my gosh. This
sounds like a classic. When the internet was a happy place.
Yes.
Right?
When the internet was fun. There's this PHP BB forum where it goes on for 8 pages of dudes literally arguing that there are 8 days in a week because if you count them, there are 8. And another guy's like, no, there are 7. And it is producer Dave's going to have to find the link. It's out there. But it is the funniest thing to read because they're so sincere in saying that there are 8 days. And it's just, it's shocking.
Wow. That's amazing.
So look in the show notes for that one. Good luck finding it, producer Dave.
Oh man, I will read that one because that sounds good. I like that kind of stuff. That's
good stuff.
When it was the fun internet, and people were
out there.
Just
it was a simpler time.
I love a good PHP BB. PHP was fine.
I'll tell you what. We'll break some news here. I'm bringing back the forum. I'm bringing it back.
Do it.
And you know what?
Build that. Build that.
That's what I'm gonna build. That's what I just said. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna do it all.
Okay.
Here's the thing. When people are like, oh no, but Reddit is a forum for everything.
Here's the
thing. Reddit sucks.
Yes,
Reddit
that's
sucks.
the thing. Why did nobody say that?
The people on Reddit suck, and if you're on Reddit, I'm not talking about you, but just everyone else. But the people on Reddit suck, and like
the whole thing is
the
bad.
tone, the vibe, the whole culture
Terrible
of Reddit
vibes.
sucks. And imagine like going out into the world and telling some normal person you use Reddit a lot. Like, you should be embarrassed about that. If you're like, oh yeah, I spend most of my time on Reddit. No, don't say that out loud. Don't say that to it. Don't say that to your in-laws. That's embarrassing. So
don't like it.
I'm going to bring back the forums. I'm going to start with screencasting and SQLite, but it's time. The forum is in. The whole feed-based social media is dying. I hate to say it. Reddit
totally brought you around on this.
You
were on board. You're coming around.
I'm coming around. There's deep inside me, like every other developer, I've got the perfect idea to replace Twitter. But I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna build it because I don't want to get yelled at. But it's dying, and so I'm bringing back like a nice space, a nice little corner of the internet to hang out. It's gone too far.
I like this idea. I like it.
It's a great idea.
I love that you're a Reddit truther. I love that.
Oh, it's the worst.
So every time I have to look at it for something, like where the search engine takes me in, it's like, well, this sort of seems like this might be what I'm looking for. And then I click over there and it inevitably is a bunch of crap and like bunch
of people being mean to each other and making the same joke over and over again.
Oh, it's never what I'm looking for. And it's always like butt crack 72 says this. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm trusting butt crack 72 on this one. Like
butt crack 72.
They always have names like that. So now why wouldn't you use like Discourse or whatever? Name your favorite forum.
Okay, first I thought you were gonna say Discord, and because Discord sucks and I hate it.
Yeah, Discord's not better.
I don't know. Discourse, maybe it's fine. I have never really liked Discourse forums as a user. I feel like they're not very.
Something's wrong.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel nice to be in. I am not dead set on like building my own from scratch. I think this is less important to have like cool features than it is to be like a space where people don't call each other idiots all day long. So I'm less worried about the tech side. I think there are even Laravel packages for forums that would probably suffice. But yeah, I think it's time. I think we need new spaces. We need new spaces on the internet.
Would you consider Campfire?
I would, if I were going for more of a live chat. I don't want a big Slack. Like, I know it's not Slack, but I don't want a big chat room where everybody's just like firing off stuff all day long. I want you to like have to sit down and type something into the box and then wait 30 minutes or 4 hours for the replies to come in, you know?
Right.
That was back in the day. I used to frequent paintball forums and like Macromedia Flash forums and HTML goodies, and the forums, so much gold in the forums. It was great. It was so fun. It was very formative in my early internet years.
Well, so much of it too is because there was not always, but much of the time you would get a like solid question with premise and detail and like all that stuff, and then answers that were more thoughtful and fleshed out. So I mean, just reading it was better, but even for the search engine, it's better. It's like the search engine knows what this is about and can guide you to it, instead of it being like a 100 characters on Twitter that everybody has to like project into it what the person's actually asking and all that stuff. Or obviously things that are just off of, not even available to the search engine, like Telegram or Slack or whatever. So I know nobody feels like they have the time for it, but I want to have the time for it.
I would rather spend my time there, frankly, than getting bombarded by the new algorithm that shows me people dying all the time. Like, I think I'd rather hang out in a forum than be like, oh, this criminal got run over by a truck. I want to watch that.
So now back to your centralization of Aaron Francis.
Yeah.
Inc.
Wow. Interesting.
Should the forum really be centralized? I feel like I don't like the idea of it off on your separate properties, because it's going to be hard to get people to do this. And then if they're like, well, some people on screencasting and some people on SQLite, whatever, and some people on Postgres, like now you've really sliced and diced it. Whereas old school forums, they just had different areas, right? Like this is the database area. This is the screencasting area, whatever. Like, And then this week you have some crossover. You're gonna have crossover between.
Gotta have crossover.
The courses for sure. You'll have crossover. And the screencasting should have some, at least. Probably less than the other two.
Man.
Yeah.
This is worth the price of admission. Yeah. Okay. I feel uncomfortable about that, but I think that's the right decision.
It's hard to manage like 3 or 4 forums, just even for you. Like, if you have one spot, you can see what's new. Other people who are interested in multiple channels can see what's new. It does up the sophistication level of the forum slightly, of like, does have the good tools and better notifications and whatever, probably a little bit.
Here is something interesting. People have often asked me like, hey, what's your Discord? And I'm like, why would I have a Discord dedicated to myself? Vanity of vanities, to be like, you are my captives. Come to my Discord. However, a forum hits different. I like that.
You can have an off-topic zone for just stuff we want to ask Aaron.
You can have a mostly technical channel.
Yes, now we're talking.
Hey!
I love that.
This is interesting, Ian.
I like this. I think we're on to something.
Joel had Joel on Software. It's been done. It's not bad.
Yeah. And he had different sections for like Bootstrapper stuff. He had like more like software development, and then there was like a couple other ones. There was like 4 sections. Yeah,
this is it. This I think you
consolidate the brand.
Yeah,
empire build, baby, empire.
How do
SEO, all the stuff.
This is a minor detail. It's just a very, very quibbly thing. How do we get people from SQLite.com? That's not the domain. SQLite.com to the forum in like a reasonable way, provided they're not like fans of me,
But see, I feel like that's what's even easier. Now, SQLite one's a little weird because you start in the other direction. But if everything else ends up being AaronFrancis.com/SQLite at some point, and AaronFrancis/Postgres Mastery or whatever you do with all that. Or at the very least, the emails are coming from you, and
emails
your face
are coming
in the footer, and like whatever, all that stuff. I feel like it'll be like, and hey, like there's a PS, like we all hang out in my forum over here, and like it becomes the logical place. And then they'll just discover more stuff, because how many people are you really going to get to interact in only the SQLite forum?
Correct. Yeah.
2 years from now.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Like maybe it builds up, and that's the dream, but like it's going to be much harder versus like if on Anne Francis forum, like there's always going to be something going on, and then you can keep it lively, because that's why forums do die, right? Is eventually like if there's no action, then nobody comes back and whatever. So you can keep the action up, and I think it's doable. If you're sending the emails from Aaron Francis, and the videos are on Aaron Francis, and like all that stuff is the videos direction.
You could convince me otherwise, but as of now, the properties are going to stay on their own domains. The emails are going to come from me, but like, I think having, let's say masteringpostgres.com is more impactful to a rando than aaronfrancis.com/masteringpostgres.
Yeah. I'm on board with that. I think for the search engine traffic and stuff, that's good too. But at the end of the day, it's going to have like your face plastered on it.
Correct.
Emails coming from you.
Yeah.
They probably found you on the Aaron Francis YouTube channel to begin with. So if that's the marketing funnel, I don't think it matters that like the actual domain is Mastering Postgres or whatever, because it's still like they're going to see your name, know who you are, all that stuff. And here's the forums where we all hang out and talk about Postgres. They go over there, and then they get exposed, obviously, to the other zones.
Sure.
Over time.
Oh man, woo boy, we got work to do. This is a great idea. This is a great idea.
It's more work and less work at the same time.
We love less work. We really do. This is
once you get 3 or 4 or 5 of these, 2 years from now, and you have 7 database courses, like it's going to be a lot to deal with. And not even necessarily optimal. Like,
and frankly, people will be Postgres users at work and SQLite at home, or vice versa. And so it's like, I don't want to transfer my reputation. I don't want to be checking a bunch of different domains for these forums. I'm just not going to do it. But if there's one domain, one username, one reputation, I like that.
I like it.
And we have like every time I do a new YouTube video, there's a thread that started. Every time we do a new podcast, there's a thread that started. So you can discuss the podcast episode in the thread.
Yep.
Ian,
I like it.
Lansden. And you, dear listener, could get this kind of advice too. if you just submit your applications to Ian Landsman on Twitter and we pick you, you could get this kind of life-changing advice as well.
Don't send anything in yet.
I'm trying my hardest to get people to send you stuff.
Oh boy. All right.
Oh,
I think we wrap it right there.
Let's do it.
Thanks everybody for listening. Check us out, mostlytechnical.com. Someday we'll have a forum over there that
At
links to Aaron's site.
aaronprince.com/forum/mostlytechnical.
Yeah. Mostly Tech Pod on Twitter. Definitely follow us. Mostly Tech Pod on YouTube. I should forget what that is. I forget what we put. Mostly Technical Podcast.
It's not
like
confident. Yeah, you keep going.
And
I'll look.
Email us at mostlytechnicalpodcast@gmail.com, which I haven't looked at in a little bit, but I will look at this week. So,
but do email us. And correction, youtube.com/@mostlytechnical.
Okay. Oh, just Mostly Technical. Perfect.
Man,
all right.
Look at this. So as you're reading this out, 740 views on YouTube on the last episode. The one with Taylor has 10,000 views on YouTube.
Wow, not that much.
That is crazy.
And we're at like a pretty high. What's our follow? Like 1,600 followers on YouTube or something like
on
that?
YouTube, yeah, 1.6. That's crazy.
People
Thank you
YouTube,
all for
man.
subscribing on YouTube. Leave a comment. Tell your friends. I didn't realize YouTube was growing like this. This is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really fun having the video. We did the video right from the start, and I'm so glad we did, because there's a lot of people who are like, I wait and I watch it on YouTube, which I think is interesting. So yeah, thanks everybody. Right. That's been really cool. And yeah, I love the YouTube. I've been always wanting to do something on YouTube, and now I'm doing something on YouTube, sort of.
You're here.
Yeah, I'm on there. All right, thanks everybody. See you next week.
See ya. Later.